Incredibly interesting romance in the hospital, how a New Year's gift changed a life. Listen, you don't really care where you spend New Year's, do you? No pets, no kids. Rachel, her coworker, had been nagging her for 2 days straight. You don't have pets or kids either, Sophie countered, but she had already made up her mind. Yeah, but this could be a life-changing night for me, Rachel protested. Sophie just waved her off and hung her coat in her locker. There was exactly 1 week left until New Year's. The December shift schedule at the small St. Mary's Hospital had been set for weeks. Sophie was still hoping to find someone to cover her shift on December 31st. At the beginning of the month, she hadn't minded working on New Year's Eve. It was worth it for the 3 days off she'd get in January to visit her sister in another city. But 2 weeks before the holiday, her sister changed plans, deciding to take a ski trip to Colorado with her family instead. At first, Sophie was disappointed, but then, just 10 days before New Year's, she met Greg. Things were moving fast between them, and suddenly, that magical evening became essential. She had to be free, no matter what. Rachel wasn't going home for the holidays because of work. 2 days traveling back and forth was too much, and she didn't really have anyone else to celebrate with. Her friends were heading to a cabin for the long weekend, and though one of the older nurses had invited her over for dinner, Rachel politely declined. She had family there, and Rachel didn't want to feel like an outsider. Wait, did I even tell you? Sophie asked suddenly. No, Rachel replied, pulling off her scrubs. Then hurry up and decide. I need to make plans. Sophie huffed, clearly frustrated. If it were a serious situation, sure, but it's not. You've known Greg for, what, a week? And now you just have to spend New Year's Eve with him? Maybe slow down a little? Oh, Rachel, just wait till you're 35. We'll see how rational you are then. Sophie sighed. They weren't exactly best friends, but their shifts often overlapped, and they knew enough about each other's lives to share complaints and occasional advice. Rachel was 25, petite, slim, with a short pixie cut. Sophie was 35, curvier, average height, and blonde as well. Neither was married, and neither had kids. With this crazy schedule, if I ever do get married, my husband will probably only see me through the bus window while driving past the hospital, Sophie joked, launching into her usual rant. The next day, fine, I'll cover your shift. Just stop nagging me, Rachel finally caved. Wait, seriously? Sophie couldn't believe her ears. Yes, for real. Rachel even closed her eyes for dramatic effect, as if mentally committing to her fate. Sophie was so excited, she clapped her hands like a 5-year-old. Just remember, you owe me a shift later, Rachel warned. Of course, Rachel. I won't forget. Oh my God, thank you so much. Sophie practically tackled her into a hug. By December 30th, the hospital's general ward had nearly emptied out. Anyone who could get discharged or sign out early had already done so. The only patients left were those who either had no choice or simply didn't want to leave. On the last day of the year, Rachel moved all the women in her unit into 3 rooms near the nurses' station, leaving the rest of the ward in the full command of Miss Lydia, the elderly cleaning lady, who would be scrubbing floors until evening. Not a single attending physician had checked in. Rachel glanced at the duty log. The night shift belonged to Dr. Peter Simmons, an older physician who had done his rounds that morning. As he packed up his things, he had stopped to wish the charge nurse a Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Rachel. Wishing you happiness and a good husband. Not just any guy, but a good one. Thank you, Dr. Simmons. Wishing you the best as well and good health, Rachel replied with a polite smile. She reached under the counter and pulled out a small gift bag, handing it to Miss Lydia. Health is important, that's true. But oh, Rachel, you shouldn't have. The elderly woman waved her hands in protest. Come on, take it. It's just a small gift from the heart, Rachel insisted with a warm smile. A deep male voice suddenly cut through the air. You're being called, and here you are, exchanging gift bags. The sharp tone made Rachel flinch. She turned to face the speaker. Dr. Evan Mitchell. She quickly read his name tag as she stepped out from behind the counter. Rachel had already heard about the hospital's new doctor. The nurses had been buzzing about him for days. Handsome, young, and most importantly, single. She glanced at his left hand. No wedding band. Tall, dark-haired, piercing gray eyes. Yep, the rumors had been accurate. It so happened that today, for the first time, their shifts coincided. Something happened? Rachel asked. Not exactly, doctor, Mitchell replied, furrowing his brow slightly. I just decided to swing by the medical floor before my shift to make sure everything's all right. But you're alone here at the station? Yes, I checked. Not too many patients, they're all in one area. Everything's under control, Rachel answered confidently, though her heart tightened slightly from his serious gaze. Good, but if anything comes up, you can call me anytime. Rachel nodded. If all doctors were as responsible as you, the year-end shifts would be a lot easier, she smiled. Trying to ease the tension, Dr. Mitchell gave a small smile in return. New Year's Eve often brings surprises. Hopefully, this time we'll avoid any emergencies. I hope so too, Rachel whispered quietly, watching him disappear through the doctor's office door. By midnight, the floor was nearly empty. Rachel sat behind the station, holding a warm cup of tea. Her thoughts wandered between memories of childhood, when New Year's felt like magic, and the loneliness that always crept in during moments like these. The clock read 11:45 p.m. when the door to the doctor's office opened again. Dr. Mitchell, now without his lab coat, walked up to the station. In his hands, he held a small package. This is for you, he said, offering it to Rachel. What is it? Rachel asked, surprised. Just a little something, but New Year's can't be without gifts. Dr. Mitchell smiled. Rachel carefully opened the package and found a small box of chocolates and a heart-shaped Christmas ornament. Thank you. This is unexpected. She smiled awkwardly. Unexpected surprises are the best part of the holiday, Dr. Mitchell replied warmly. He placed a thermos on the counter. By the way, I brought some tea too. It's more fun to celebrate together, even here, than being alone. Rachel looked up, trying to gauge if he was joking, but there was only genuine warmth in his eyes. Then sit down, she replied, feeling an unfamiliar, pleasant sensation spreading inside her. At midnight, fireworks lit up the sky outside the window, and the small medical floor filled with the sounds of ringing bells and a tiny moment of happiness. Rachel and Dr. Mitchell sat at the station, sipping tea, exchanging glances and smiles. It felt as though New Year's truly had something new in store for them.